Right, hello, everyone. Brett Lowe with you here from the Jewellery Industry Virtual Fair. Today, we're very fortunate to be joined by the one and only Katerina Perez. Reasonably early in the morning, not too early now. We've started talking, I'll find out. But look, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to have you here and to see you face to face, considering the current climate conditions we're in. So look, we'll get straight into it. Like, you're originally from Russia. The accent, we
Yeah.
can't miss that. A country's very strong fine jewellery tradition. It's no surprise you developed a love for the industry. Do you remember how that evolved for you?
Well, actually, my love for jewelry started from the very early age. I still remember how my favorite thing was playing with my grandmother's jewelry, taking it all out of the jewelry box and looking at all the different gemstones and trying it on and styling it. There is this picture that my mom found where I'm around 3 years old, and I'm wearing my grandmother's jewelry, like layers and layers and layers. And that actually reminded me that the love for jewelry was always there.
Yeah.
It just took time for me to understand how I can translate it into my work really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, so you're quite happy to wear plenty of it and go big from a young age as well then?
Oh yeah, for sure. Big bold jewelry. It's something up my street for sure.
Yeah, not something you've lost at all. So,
No, see.
uh, yeah. So, and you originally worked in jewellery sales and also studied to become a gemologist. So how and where did your career start to blend then into journalism?
So really, it started when I was still working in retail, and I remember my clients would come and ask for a piece of jewelry, how many carats there is, and what's the price. And in reality, there's so much more to jewelry than the price and carat weight, right? And this is what I wanted to translate through my work as a journalist. This is how I started writing because I wanted to educate people and show them that there is so much more to jewelry than they just, what you see on the surface. There is inspirations, there is craftsmanship, there are original ideas, which also translate into obviously different price for jewelry. And at that time, I was quite lucky to have a friend who was working for a magazine, and she invited me to be a jewelry editor for. It was a Russian British magazine, nothing big, but still good for the local audience of Russians. So this is how I started writing because I was passionate about writing, not because I was a journalist by education or anything like that. But with time, I saw a good response, and especially when I went online, because again, after working for 2 years in the magazine, I felt like I want to have a much wider reach. I enjoy writing about jewelry. I have a good overview. I understand jewelry. I have a lot to share. So I decided to start my blog at that time. And in fact, after doing for like a year or so, I realized how much there is demand for this kind of information, how fast it grows. And I thought, okay, why don't I dedicate more time to it and turn it into something much more bigger and valuable. And this is what I've done. I quit my job in retail at the time, and I started dedicating all my love and care and all my time to katerinaperez.com.
Yeah. And I guess having that education background too, it's not just the love of design, like you actually understand the stones you're looking at and you know what you're looking at. You're not going to get duped because you have that gemology background.
Exactly. Well, of course, it started with passion, and this is what drove me to go into retail, what drove me to go to gemology courses, what drove me to do more research. And by nature, I'm a person who is very inquisitive, so I like to do my researches and focus on specific subject and learn it inside out. And that's what happened with jewelry. And of course, being in retail for about 7 years, I learned a lot about not just customer service, but relationship with clients, how to wine and dine them, what they like, how retail works in general, different types of events and, PR and all the aspects of the jewelry industry. And I think this is also one of the things that sets me apart from, like-minded writers, that when I write, I know exactly the subject from all different angles and not just what gem it is and, not just the basics, basically.
Yeah. It's a well-rounded opinion of what you're seeing. So and so obviously, as we said, you're from Russia. You don't live in Russia anymore. You're in France. So At what sort of age, like where in your career or where in your life do you start exploring and traveling the world, seeing jewelry designers and different influences in different countries and cultures?
Well, in terms of traveling, so I've moved out of Russia when I was 21 after I've graduated, and I settled in the UK. So I lived in the UK for 15 years. Initially, I moved to improve my skills of English, but over time I stayed because I went up the career ladder. I had a part-time job, then it was progressing. Then eventually I ended up being a manager, and I was thinking if I go back to Russia, I have nothing there really, and things are going well for me here, so I stayed. And with time, my retail experience translated into jewelry. In fact, it was a little bit maybe coincidence in a way, because I was living in a small town of England called Reading. Well, not so small, but relatively small comparing to London. And I was moving to London, and there was a job in jewelry to work as a manager in one of the boutiques for jewelry. And this was my first experience working in jewelry retail. It was a company called Toes. It's a Spanish jeweler who specializes in more like fashion fine jewelry with a variety of gemstones. And this is where I really explored all different gems. I'm not talking about super high end, okay? It was more maybe quartz and tourmalines, but it really ignited this desire to know more, because I explored the whole rainbow of colors in jewelry and gems, the different styles, and this was a great motivation to learn more about jewelry. So in terms of traveling, the real traveling experience started a bit later, when I was already writing about jewelry, because I wanted to visit different exhibitions. I wanted to explore different culture through the lens of jewelry. Because in reality, for example, the jewelry style of I don't know, Italy will be completely different from the tastes of women in Asia and America and so on. And for me, it's so interesting to learn, some traditional jewelry, even to see how it evolved and what are the maybe design elements of that tradition, why they're like that. And, jewelry is much more than an adornment. It's history, it's culture, it's style, it's memories. It's a lot. If you dig deep, you can understand it from all different aspects.
Yeah, there's so many different reasons why people wear and give and buy jewelry, and as you say, it's vastly different from culture to culture. So it's
Exactly.
never ending, never ending. And your opinions are highly respected as a designer in the industry, and they're featured in many top international publications. Like, it's not hard to look online and find, you're in the New York Times, you're talking at the GIA Institute, judging the Couture Design Awards in Las Vegas, hosting seminars at International Jewellery London. You've got to be extremely proud of what you're achieving in the industry and in your career.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like throughout the 7 years that I've been writing on KaterinaPerez.com and having my Instagram, I've turned from just a jewelry lover into an authority in this industry, and it really drives me to be professional in every single aspect of my job. Because when people look up to you, when people listen to your voice, you have to be knowledgeable, you have to be on the ball, understanding what's happening in the jewelry world, and this is what I do up to this day. But of course, all those achievements were the result of hard work, and I don't believe that you can succeed without putting a lot into what you do. But most importantly, this passion and love for jewelry. I think this is like the biggest thing that drove me to, well, let's say, success, that helped me to go through all the difficult times. Because many people think that blogging is like you post something on Instagram or you write a little article, but in reality there's so much more. And I don't just write or do Instagram. There is much more depth to what I do, and I do a lot of consulting behind the scenes. I write for other magazines. I help brands with building their social media strategy. So there's lots of facets to my business, and of course, what I do is very full-on job, and I have a team to help as well.
Yeah. Oh, you must do, because you're being pulled in so many different directions. And as a jeweler myself, like, I understand, and Instagram's just an enormous task on its own, and that's, yeah, I'm envious of someone like you. How do you do all of these? How do you manage all this? Like you say, you've got a team, but it's all got
Yeah.
your name on it and your brand and your feel and touch. So it must be so hard
So
to find the right people.
I mean, in reality, yes. So I wouldn't be me without my team. I owe a lot to all the guys and girls who work with me on, let it be social media manager or the editor, because also I write in both languages and I have Instagram in both Russian and English, so it's double work. And also Instagram has grown over time into not just an Instagram platform, but also TikTok and Pinterest and Snapchat all in one. So it also makes all of us work not double, triple, quadruple hard, on the social media. So for me, what's important is to still be the visionary, to be like, say creative director. I don't necessarily do every single thing of my business myself, because my team, like for example, English, I can't edit English. I have the editor to do that. I have also Russian editor, because over the time living in the UK for so many years, I don't trust my Russian anymore 100%. So it's always good to have someone look over that.
Mm.
Then there is things like planning, for example, with social media manager, she helps me to keep everything under control, that we have got everything planned out, that things are running smoothly. So what is left there for me is to really be this creative visionary, to make sure that things are the way I envision, that it's still my voice. I like to write my articles. I like to create the Instagram layout, choose the people who I want to show, because this is all a reflection of my taste and my vision. And I think it's important to stay true to yourself, and to really not just, for me, it was never the desire to turn into the business model. It's still for me my passion that I'm lucky to have as a also business that brings money along the way. So
Yeah.
I think this is what really helps me in to work hard and to achieve more.
Yeah. I think you're another one of those people that I've interviewed, and you love what you do. And I always get the saying wrong, but it's if you love what you do, you never feel like you work a day in your life.
Exactly.
The way I hear you talking, I feel like that's who you are. You're the epitome of that saying.
Like there's two sides to this coin, because on one hand you really enjoy working, so you don't feel that you're putting work into it, you just do what you love. But on the other hand, you get addicted to it so much. I remember before I became a mother, I used to work like 12-hour days,
Mm.
6 days a week, not only because I had to. Of course, in the beginning I had to work extremely hard to put my name out there and to show that I'm capable of something. But it's more that I was so in love with every aspect that this job involves, that I just couldn't stop. And then you work and work and work until you get a headache, like your body tells you, Katerina, stop, like you have to have limits. So
Yeah. Yeah.
luckily now I'm a mom, so I have to work normal working hours, because then I have to look after my son.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. How do you manage all this with a child at home too? It's a lot. It's a lot going on.
Well, yeah, now it's easier, because now obviously he's at school. Well, in France, they already call it school, even though he's only 5. So I have standard working hours, and plus my team, I rely on them a lot. I have about 5 people now. So they all take care of different aspects, helping me to bring you guys, the daily updates on Instagram and regular articles and newsletters and, Facebooks and all these things.
Yeah. So many.
But in the start, any mothers who still want to and who enjoy working, I would definitely recommend looking for that help, because I had a very good nanny who I can rely on. And I started working like 2 weeks after I gave birth. I just didn't feel normal in the way that I don't have any work. It's such a big part of me.
Yeah.
Again, it's not because I had to, but because I just couldn't live without it. I couldn't live without writing my articles. I couldn't live without looking at jewelry. And my son was looking at jewelry all the way through my pregnancy, through my eyes. And now, when he sees something sparkly, he's like, oh, this is so pretty. He knows
Yeah.
all the names of jewelry as well, in Russian and French. So
Yeah,
the
time will
passion is
tell, but
there.
maybe he will follow in mum's footsteps, eh? Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, maybe he's an up and coming designer. Maybe he
Yeah.
will be, I don't know, managing a brand. Maybe, I don't know. I'm
Mm.
not really mom who is, pushing a child to do something she
Yeah.
wants him to do. I'll see what he enjoys doing.
Yeah. Well, he's influenced from an early age, so who knows where it'll take him. But now I want to ask you, there's various social media platforms, and there's so many different influencers on these different platforms. What do you think sets you apart and makes you so successful when you're comparing to other influencers, but particularly in the jewelry industry?
You see, I think what's important is not just talking about influences, but in jewelry, in any kind of field, is to understand how are you different from others. What's your speciality, right? How do you stand out? So for me, what helps me stand out is my vision and my taste as well. Of course, there is other people in the industry who also talk about jewelry on their Instagram, on the website, who are bloggers and influencers. But for me, what makes me different is that I focus on design and on colored gems. Over a period of time, I realized that this is actually what makes me tick. If you put a big diamond in a solitaire, it doesn't get me excited. But if you showcase a jewel which is a combination of nature, gemstones, and human mind, which is design, imagination, then for me that's what makes me interested. And of course craftsmanship, when a jeweler uses unusual materials, when they come up with different unusual design elements, when a piece of jewelry is complete, meaning that it's beautiful outside but also on the inside. So all these little things I take into consideration. And of course, the way I present jewelry, that I prefer to showcase my own images, to go meet all the designers. I call myself not really blogger but more jewelry insider, because I do meet pretty much everyone who I showcase. Pretty much I say, because right now I can't. I still love
Mhm.
lots of designers who I discover on Instagram or who approach me, and I can't see them in person yet. But in the past, it was my rule. If I haven't met the person, if I haven't understood their philosophy, and if I haven't seen or touched their jewelry, I wouldn't talk about them, because the moment of connection is not there yet.
Yeah.
So it's a very personal journey for me, see.
Yeah. Well, it must have been the last 12 months or more must be incredibly tough for you. Like your whole
Oh
life
yeah.
revolves around meeting these people and
It's actually not funny, because it's like starvation for visual stimulation. We don't have any museums open, no theaters, no cinemas, no restaurants, nothing. And for me, when I try on a piece of jewelry, when I hold it in my hands, I can't explain. It's a special like feeling. It's a different sensation. So of course, first month I was okay-ish, and after now a year has passed that I haven't really seen the amount of jewelry I'm used to. I had to make appointments to. Luckily, I'm in France, okay, in the Paris, so we have Place
oh,
Vendôme. So I had to make appointments and go and see the jewelry, not because of novelty, but because I just wanted to have it in my hands and to try it on like I usually do, to feel normal. And yeah, that was my exercise last month. And also we had presentations of haute joaillerie, and that was like the time of this year when I got to see collections of, I think there were 6 maisons presenting their new collections.
yeah. I do wonder what's going to happen as we start to go back to normality and all the workshops are opening up to full steam again. Are we going to have an influx of new design because people have been cooped up at home? They've had time to sit down and think and draw and nut over ideas that they might not have, might have been on the back burner for a long time. Like I do wonder what we're going to see in the next year or so.
To be honest, the design and the production, everything is still going in full swing. You are rightly said that designers are very prolific right now, because they have more time to immerse into their creative journey. So I have heard from many of my friends who are designers that we are so creative right now. We're preparing tons of sketches, and I hear from gem dealers that they're super busy. I hear from private designers that they sell more than before. So in reality, COVID was scary, but the result, like, also another thing to take into consideration, there is not much travel, and travel is one of the big competition for jewelry as well, not direct but indirectly it is. So
Yeah.
now, and fashion as well, now we don't really go out. I mean, I'm talking about France, okay, other countries like Russia is full on, they have everything going on, but say in France we don't even have this desire to buy any apparel, any fashion, because we can't go out. Like
Mm.
if I buy a new dress, what I'm going to do with this? So right now the money hasn't evaporated. Right now this money that is there is getting investment more into jewelry, because it's timeless. You
Yeah.
buy a piece of jewelry, it's not like you're not going to fit in it next season, or it's going to go out of fashion, it won't be the right color or anything like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we're in the same position here in Australia and New Zealand. All the manufacturing jewelers I talk to are run off their feet with work. So I really feel the same. That money's being shifted and funneled into jewelry, which normally would have been on things such as travel. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Okay. Now and back onto Instagram. So incredibly powerful way for jewelers to connect directly with their customers in their local area and around the world. What do you think makes Instagram so important as a social media tool for jewelers?
I think first and foremost is the quality of audience. In my opinion, Instagram has the biggest number of the potential jewelry clients because on Instagram there is a lot of audience from all different countries, including also influential individuals who might not necessarily interact with you or have their Instagram account visible for all. It can be, I don't know, not even have a picture on avatar. I had lots of examples when some influential individuals from, say, Middle East would, interact and ask about some jewelry when you'd never think that it's somebody valuable. So in terms of quality of audience is there. In terms of um, way to perceive information, jewelry is very visual, right? It's all about seeing it. So Instagram is a story in pictures, so that's another reason why it's so good for jewelry business. It's easy to use. It has lots of functions that also help selling. So in my opinion, for jewelry is definitely number one.
Yeah, and it's continuing to evolve too, I think, and becoming a lot easier to sell on Instagram. I think that that's the future of Instagram. Is it's a one-stop shop.
Exactly.
Mm.
But at the same time, we have to understand that Instagram is still, it's not a marketplace, it's not a selling tool. So all the selling opportunities like InstaShop or ability to reach to the client directly and so on, that's a bonus. So we have to be realistic and understand that if we open an account and start posting jewelry pictures there, it doesn't mean it's going to drive tons of sales right away, or it might not drive any sales at all. It very much depends on the way the account looks and if it's appealing to the consumer.
Mm. And I guess you're obviously very experienced with Instagram, particularly, but across the whole jewelry industry. And you're now starting to give back some of that knowledge and sharing it in a 7-week course designed to teach students how to sell on the online on Instagram. Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, for sure. This is actually an idea that, thanks to COVID, materialized because I've been doing seminars on how to sell jewelry on Instagram. First, they started with 2 hours, then the seminar grew to 4 hours. I'm like, there's never enough time to talk about all this. So,
Mm.
luckily, when we were confined, I had time to map it all out, to prepare the course, to film it. So, it's, as you said, it's a course that runs over 7 weeks, which consists of small videos, 20-30 minutes, pre recorded so that it fits to everyone's schedule. You don't need to go live with me and wait for that specific time. You can do it whenever you want. And it reviews all aspects of Instagram from a commercial lens. How posting beautiful photos will lead to sale, how to write a caption that sells, how to speak to customers in DM, what is the customer journey, what's the psychology behind shopping on Instagram, and why I can have a beautiful Instagram and it doesn't bring sales. So lots of different aspects, well, pretty much every single aspect are reviewed through the commercial potential. And the structure is also, as I said, quite easy. And I run this course every couple of months, but the next one starts on the 1st of March. And after, I'm not sure when exactly I'm going to do this, because it's not just about, a student or someone who enrolls watching the videos. There is also the practical part, because there is an opportunity to do homework, which is checked either by myself or the curator. And we also have weekly webinars where I answer questions, where we discuss, where we have guest speakers. So in reality, it's an immersive experience. Within 1.5 months, you're going to rework your Instagram completely. But then the biggest thing is, to carry on. So
Mm.
one thing is to learn and to get information, which is great. But the only thing that will make a difference is you putting your knowledge into action and continuously doing so. Because, even my Instagram, it's a full-time job. Planning, posting, preparing images, retouching, communicating, and tons of things to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stories, feed, guides, reels, you name it. I mean, it's
I
crazy,
know.
right?
It keeps growing too, hey? So, and like you said before, all these other platforms as well, like we're busy across so many different areas, and they're
But
all necessary.
yeah, one more thing I want to add that unless you enjoy doing Instagram, It will be much harder if you just do it for the sake of it. But if you like it, like I do, also the reason why I'm good at Instagram, because I love it, because I enjoy, doing my research. I'm a bit of a geek, in that
Yeah.
sense. And that's also part of the potential success. Because even though it's something which a person on the other side of their phone, they can't meet you in person, but through your content, through the way you talk about, well, in our case, jewelry, through the way you present it, they can feel if you really like it or if you're just doing it for the sake of it. It's something which, subconsciously people read off the way you manage your Instagram.
Yeah. And what's ahead for you for the next 12 months? Like, do you have any major plans or anything that you can let slip for us here today?
Oh, there's too many, this is crazy. There's too many plans. Again, because I don't travel so much like I used to, now all my ideas, which were there for a while, they start materializing. So one of the plans is to open Katerina's Club, which will be a free educational, small channel where people can come and learn about Instagram first in more details just by following this channel. And then it also includes like a weekly master classes. I don't call them webinars because it's really something focused on giving knowledge, but I'll really reveal it a little bit later. Right now it's still in development. And the second thing I'm working on is bringing the second level of how to sell jewelry on Instagram, which is for those who completed the I would say like intermediary, like basic and intermediate level. And this will be the advanced version where the aspects we speak before in the first class will be digging more deeper and going really into detail.
Yeah, wonderful. And as far as jewelry design and trends coming for it's always hard to predict, but like, do you have any predictions where you think things might go once we get out of this sort of lockdown and up and downs of life?
In terms of design?
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see anything new or like new hot trends or?
In terms of trends, I mean, one big trend, which is quite obvious, is that lots of designers release those more accessible points, not just designers, big maisons, everyone, because we want to also encourage the client to have jewelry as a part of their daily wardrobe. So this trend, let's call it a trend, will definitely continue. Another big trend, which has been going on over a period of years now and which will stay, is exploration of colors. Because if you go 10 years back, we'll see that, spinels weren't explored so much, topaz wasn't there so much, all the colorful, beautiful gemstones, even gems like lapis, malachite, turquoise, they were always behind the scenes really, when now we appreciate the whole spectrum of gems. And they also, become the essential part of high jewelry collections, which for me is a pleasure to see too. Another thing is being different. So as I said, right now, those who stand out, they survive, they become stronger. So I think this, I don't want to call it a trend, but it's definitely direction in jewelry design. How am I different from others, and what materials I can use to make my designs instantly recognizable and original and not like everyone else? Can I do different customer service? How is my brand offering different experience to my clients? Because if you think about it, jewelry has all the same basics in terms of customer service and in terms of presenting jewelry. When you go to a boutique, it's pretty much the same experience, right? So how can I give my clients something that they'll remember me for? So this is a direction that jewelry industry is going.
Yeah, finding their uniqueness. That's actually something I've been thinking about for a long time. Like I think jewelry, particularly here, got a little bit boring for quite a while, but I think people are now, and COVID too, it's made people get online and find local manufacturers and designers. But I think people are looking for something, that unique piece and something different. They don't want just the same. So
exactly. And that also reflects in, for example, the gemstone cuts that are being used.
Yeah.
Even in high jewelry, I see more and more, say, old mine cut diamonds, which is not a trend, okay? They were always there, but I feel that more people appreciate their character and their uniqueness. And also all fancy cuts of colored stones, those cuts that don't even have names yet, but all the beautiful fantasy cuts. And I feel that consumer overall doesn't look at jewelry anymore as a only status symbol or only a way to invest money. It's a lot about self-expression. It's a lot about completing your look. It's a lot about using jewelry to stand out as well. So that's what the
Well,
trends are.
no, it's been really lovely to talk to you, and I will say that we'll be having a Q&A on the Saturday, the 13th, I believe it is. I better double check that. I'm pretty sure it's the 13th. Yeah, the 13th of March, the Saturday evening. We'll have a Q&A with you again. So anything I haven't asked you today, which I probably should have, somebody else can pop up and ask that question on the 13th. But I guess I'll ask you as well. Do you think there's anything I should have asked you today before we sign off?
Ooh.
Yeah, put you on the spot.
I can talk endlessly about jewelry, about Instagram. So, I mean, I'm just looking forward to the Q&A session because for me, interaction is the most enjoyable thing. And, you know, I hope I gave a little bit of insights, which people will find useful. But otherwise, guys, get your questions ready. I'm very open with my knowledge. I never try to keep things just for myself, as you see. So I'll genuinely share my views and whatever skills I've gained in terms of Instagram or anything else.
Yeah, that's really wonderful. Look, thank you so much again for today, and let's look forward to the Q&A, and we'll see you then.
Great, thank you very much, and see you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.